Hello, and welcome back to the We Don't Wanna podcast. This is the show where two certified dipshits make uncertified takes about your favorite series. We are your hosts. I am Zach, and joining me as always, he's gone to find the breastplate stretcher. It's Scotty Westside.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, my guy?
Yeah, I've been having a real tough time finding it. I'm starting to believe it doesn't actually exist. Is like crazy conspiracy theory territory?
Yeah, we're torturing the poor boy. The poor boy being you.
Torturing the poor boy. You got to
The
say it
poor
right.
boy.
The poor boy.
The poor boy.
How are you doing this week, pal?
Dude, I'm good, man.
Yeah?
Had a killer weekend.
Sick.
Did a lot.
Yeah. You're in a new place. Your background is just all different, and it's throwing me off.
I'm just sitting in the kitchen instead of my little office area.
Moved rooms.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Yeah. Needed a change of scenery.
Yeah, hey,
no, it's
listen,
been a very eventful week. It's been good.
Yeah?
A little tired definitely, but it's been fun.
Right.
How about you?
I'm doing okay. The pollen here is absolutely horrendous right now. So my allergies have been kind of bothering me the last few days. So if my eyes look particularly red or watery, I swear I'm not high.
Reefer.
I swear it's just allergies.
Do people even still say reefer?
Probably not. You really dated yourself there, Grandpa. Yeah, it's been a solid week. You know, I can't complain. We get to talk about Game of Thrones, and that always makes me happy. So
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man. From 6 to midnight, always.
Just takes you immediately. Like, I don't go full hard, just a little chub when I get to talk about Game of Thrones.
Well, especially when we've got Bobby B quotes.
Oh my god.
And things. That's a 6 to midnight.
Oh yeah. Bobby B takes me 6 to midnight for sure. For sure.
I'm glad to hear it. Well, we are back.
Yes, we are.
And we're talking Game of Thrones, episode 5, The Wolf and the Lion. And it's a good one.
This episode kind of pops off. Like,
dude,
I am, after rewatching it, I was surprised at, looking back at my notes, like how many thoughts and how much I feel like I have to say about this episode. It's a banger.
Well, good, because I have notes, but I'm going a little more off the cuff than normal here.
Okay.
It's just a good episode, and I feel like if I wrote out every single thing that was good, we would just sit around and gush for probably 2 hours.
True.
So I kind of went a little easy on the notes. Obviously, we're still gonna do our normal recap, but yeah, I'm just looking for some good conversation,
for sure.
Good discussion here.
Well, we got a lot to get to, so why don't we get to it? Why
don't you tell us what happens in The Wolf and the Lion?
Well, let's do it. We begin, of course, at King's Landing, where Ned and Sir Barristan discuss Sir Hugh's death. And they reminisce about the old days, the war, and being great swordsmen. They both have great respect for each other. Bobby B, our boy Bobby B, wants to suit up and joust, but is too fat for his armor. And he goes on a legendary hot streak of amazing lines that has pretty much never been matched before or since in any show ever. The Knight of Flowers, Sir Loras Tyrell, defeats the Mountain in the joust. The Mountain, very graceful loser, very graceful, just decapitates the hell out of his horse, and then he tries to do the same to Sir Loras, but he is stopped by his brother, the Hound. Kat, we cut to Kat. She said she was taking Tyrion to Winterfell, but actually, she is taking him to the Vale where her sister is.
It was a ruse.
She is taking him into the Vale where her sister is instead. It was a ruse.
Oh, you wrote that in there?
I did write it in there. You know, anyone who's listened to Harry Potter knows I have to write my own jokes in here. I will forget them. Tyrion proclaims his innocence and asks them what kind of a fool would arm an assassin with his own blade. Solid argument. They are attacked by the Hill tribes, and Bronn is a badass. Also, Tyrion saves Cat, and he kills a dude with a damn shield, and it's pretty cool.
He kills him like 12 times
He
over
super kills him. It's not just death. It's a super death. At Winterfell, Bran is getting some lessons from Maester Luwin, and we get some good world building. Theon, there's a quick scene of Theon being an asshole to his quote-unquote Lady of the Night. That's whore, politely. At King's Landing, Varys tells Ned that the king is a fool and doomed unless Ned can save him. He tells Ned that Jon Arryn was indeed poisoned. Ned wants to know why now, and Varys says because he started asking questions. Arya, our girl Arya, chases a cat into the dungeons, and she overhears Varys and our dude Illyrio, who we have not seen since the first episode. Yeah.
Second episode?
Maybe the second. Talking about how the wolf and the lion will soon be at war. Illyrio says they need more time because Khal Drogo won't move until his son is born.
And we pick up back in King's Landing, where Littlefinger and Varys trade barbs and have a who has a better spies argument. Lots of dick measuring here for somebody who has no dick.
Yeah. Varys has no dick.
And for somebody who's named Littlefinger.
True.
I mean,
true.
Jeez.
They're in a big
our dude
dick
Yoren.
measuring.
What?
They're in a big dick measuring contest.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. It's like, dude, yeah, but I have an extra centimeter. Like, it's an inch and a centimeter.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Our dude Yoren from the Night's Watch has made it to King's Landing to tell Ned about Cat taking Tyrion. Arya worries for her father's safety, and Bobby B is furious at the news from Jorah that Dany is pregnant.
Pregnant.
He wants her, the child, and Viserys dead. Well, most people want Viserys dead, so
true.
Good.
Big true.
Good on you. Ned is fully against it, and they argue until Ned ends up resigning his post as Hand of the King.
Uh-oh.
Ned is going to leave immediately, but Littlefinger talks him into going and seeing the last person that Jon Arryn talked to before he died, a whore with one of Robert's bastards. Kat's group arrives at the Eyrie, and her sister is straight up fucking crazy, and her son is also straight up crazy and a bitch boy.
True.
They throw Tyrion into the cells with his new best friend, Mord.
Gotta love Mord.
Lord Renly and Sir Loras have a sexy shaving scheming scene. I haven't read this.
It's just a sexy shaving and scheming scene.
Yeah,
I love the alliteration there.
That's good, Scott. Yeah, Scott wrote this recap for me, and I haven't read it until now.
You're not supposed to let people behind the curtain like that.
I know, there's some inside baseball for you guys.
Yeah.
Cersei and Bobby B have a chat about the sad state of the realm and their marriage. Ned is ambushed by Jaime and his soldiers as he comes out of the brothel. He's furious that Cat took his brother and intends to take Ned. Big fight, actually. Jaime kills the shit out of Jory and fights Ned for a bit before Ned gets a spear through the back of the knee.
Hey, yikers.
Yeah, Jaime leaves him lying in the street, saying he wants his brother back. Which, I have to say, this isn't part of the recap, is very interesting because I thought he was going to take Ned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was the whole point of all.
Yeah, I think, listen, his plans changed when his noble and honorable duel with Ned got interrupted, but we'll probably go more into that later. I do have some things to say about that. Unless you want to start there, unless you want to start at the end.
I mean, hey, look, we can go from there and work inward.
We can.
Whatever.
Sure. Why don't we just do it?
That's a hell of a scene.
That's a hell of a scene. I love Jaime specifically in this scene because he so well pulls off being just this smarmy, sarcastic asshole, but at the same time, you can tell he's just kind of holding back rage. Like, he is pissed, and he's kind of like covering it up with his, sarcastic quips, but he is like furious, because if there's one thing to be said about Jaime, is he definitely cares about Tyrion. He cares about his brother. He's probably the only one in the world that does. But he definitely cares about Tyrion, and I just thought Nikolai Coster-Waldau's performance in this scene was fantastic.
Yeah, it's also really it's cool because like we've gotten such buildup about Jaime being this like phenomenal swordsman, and it's cool to see it kind of play out. And it's interesting too because I'm gonna be that guy, and I am gonna compare it to the books a little bit.
Sure.
I feel like the show gives Ned a little bit more credit,
definitely,
than it's probably worth. Not to say that he gets like completely fucked up in the book, but like he's definitely fighting out of his league.
To my recollection, I don't know if him and Jaime ever actually cross swords. It's kind of more just Ned is like a part of this big melee with the Lannister guardsmen, and then he gets stabbed. But I could be misremembering it.
Maybe you could be right. I just know that like in the books, there's never actually like legitimate conversation about can Ned even hold his own against Jaime? Like it's not even a question.
Right, for sure. I do appreciate like structurally like how they framed the episode, where we started with Ser Barristan and Ned talking, where Ned is basically like, hey, I'm glad we never actually met on the field and fought, or I would be dead because you're a goddamn legend. And Ser Barristan gives Ned his props. He's like, I saw you cut down a dozen great knights, listen, you don't put yourself down. And then that at the end of the episode, we see that come to fruition, where basically he is holding his own against Jaime Lannister. And I think it's a cool touch in that you can see it on Jaime's face as the fight progresses. It's like he's surprised at how well Ned is doing against him.
Right.
Because Jory is like the captain of Ned's household guard. So in theory, one of the better swordsmen that Ned has.
And Jory looked like a child.
He got absolutely destroyed.
Trying to step to
Jaime worked him instantly.
Yeah.
And so kind of I love seeing that almost surprise in Jaime's face when he's fighting Ned, of like, oh shit, this old man still got it. He can still fight. And I think that is what makes him extra angry at his guardsman man, because it like actually was a challenge, and that was probably, maybe a little exciting for him to have a challenge like that.
Right.
So
for sure.
That's why it being interrupted right as he was getting into this good part of this fight, he's even extra, pissed off about it.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, great scene. I feel like the past several episodes I have made comment of like how I usually will say like, hey, get to episode 5.
You do love talking about this.
Yeah, I mean, look, but hey, I have to bring it up because we're here now. This is where it's like, okay, like I feel like this is like the first legitimate like fight we see, right? I mean,
you could be right. Yeah, I mean,
like there's like the Dothraki like marriage thing, like the people that fight, but like this is the first fight with like stakes, like and it definitely, and it's like it's with characters that like you are attached to, like Ned and even Jaime, even though like obviously people I feel like at this point probably hate Jaime, but there is an emotional attachment to his character because you despise him, right? Like it's something that definitely is more than just two fucking cannon fodder people just ripping each other apart.
Sure. And not only that is like we have been building this entire season, like there has been this shadowy like kind of backstage battle between the Lannisters and the Starks.
Right.
And now it's just like, oh, it just kicked off for real now. Like
Yeah,
they're
this shit's
actually
going down.
fighting in the streets between the Starks and the Lannisters, not just like, oh, the Lannisters are shady. We think they might have killed Bran, this and that.
Right. And it's cool too because it's like it feels like okay, like everything's off the table now.
Right.
Like Ned walks out and Jory tries standing up for him and he's like, "You're speaking to the hand of the king," and he's like,
Yes.
"No,
he's
he's not the hand of the king anymore.
I love that line.
Like, he's just a fucking lord from somewhere far away, and I'm gonna fuck you up."
That's exactly what I'm talking about with him being so snarky, but just like so angry at the same time. Where he's like,
it's so
was
good.
the hand of the king. Now I'm not sure what he is, and he's just like, you can tell like the anger is there, but he's still Jaime Lannister, and he's got a quip. And it's just like when he first rides up, I also love what a small pack of wolves, and it's just like it's so good. I love Nikolai in this scene; he's so good.
Very.
There is something I feel like we need to address right out of the gate, Zach. Okay. We have been doing our counter each episode.
Oh, yes.
For, we pick something and we decide to count how many times certain things happen in each episode. I feel like we should just get this out right now so we can kind of count them as we go along in the episode.
Sure.
Because there are so many schemes going on in this episode.
This is the episode of, like, if there hasn't already been this very apparent, like, this show is about political scheming. Like, it is kind of like a crux of the show. Mm-hmm. This is the episode where, like,
this is the damn episode.
It's all coming in. And I also want to point this out. In a lot of them that we're going to talk about, Varys is a key player.
Yes.
And he I feel like we've already established that Varys is important, but he hasn't really been in the mix in things until this episode. This is the episode where he kind of steps to the forefront,
definitely, of
a lot of things that are happening, and it kind of makes you be like, man, there's a lot of players in this game right now.
There definitely is, and we see that not only with Varys but Littlefinger as well. They are definitely stepping up to the plate and kind of inserting themselves into, like, this.
Sorry, did you say inserting?
I did. They're dick measuring and then they're inserting. They are plotting and scheming big time. We'll save how many we have total for the end, I guess. But we will bring them up as we kind of talk about this episode. To start off, get a quick one out of the way. Right at the start of the episode, I don't know if you counted this one or not, but Ned schemes. He does a little reverse psychology scheme to get Bobby B not to joust.
Oh my god, yeah. No, I didn't count that one. I should have, though.
This is good by Ned because he knows his friend Robert well, and basically he knows the only way not to get him to do something is to be like, nah, nobody will hit you, bro. No one will even fight you. Yeah. And that makes Bobby B not want to do it. It's probably not true. People would have hit him, but good job on Ned. Good scheme to keep our boy Bobby B out of the joust.
Dude, this is, like, I know you, like, we mentioned it in the recap, but, like, this scene is so funny,
so
dude.
Good. It's so good.
It's so, if there's anybody who doesn't put King Robert in at least top 10 favorite characters of the show, like, you guys need to reevaluate your fucking work.
Watch this scene again and then tell me he's not like top 10 material.
Dude. He's so funny.
He's so funny, dude. And we'll get to more. He does so much more this episode. I actually transcribed this scene word for word because I had this idea that we could do like a dramatic reenactment of it. I thought that would be fun and funny. Oh my God, then I rethought it. For A, I feel like we have a lot to talk about already in this episode. And B, then I was like, we're not Mark Addy. There's no way we'll be able to do this justice at all.
Absolutely not.
So I was like, I scrapped that idea. I do want to call out just a couple of the amazing lines. The big one that I feel like you and I and others in our friends group use on a consistent basis is when he looks Lancel full in the face and just goes, "Your mother was a dumb whore with a fat ass. Did you know that?" It's so
He's
good.
Such a fucking dick.
And then,
I love it.
And then he follows that up with, "Look at this idiot. One ball and no brains." He's insulting the man. I don't know if that's even true. I can't remember anything in the story.
Why is he saying one ball?
Referencing Lancel only having one ball, but I hope it is true, because that's even a bigger low blow, is if Robert knows he only has one testicle and is like, one ball and no braids is so goddamn good. Yeah, and
then he's like, Lancel stops laughing about the fat comment, and he's like,
"No,
you don't think the hands joke is funny?
You don't like the hands joke?
You're torturing the poor boy.
The poor boy." It's a legendary scene. I love it so much. And the whole time, Mark Addy is just standing there with his shirt like hanging open, big old beer gut, like sweaty. It's peak comedy in this series, if you ask me, and
yeah, agreed.
I love him so much. But that is not all we get from Mark Addy and Robert Baratheon. He really truly does run the gambit, and I feel like this is his Emmy reel, man, this episode, because the scene where the small council, where he is just furious and angry, and him and Ned's kind of frustrations with each other and their fraying relationship that we've seen kind of building to this point is kind of, coming to a head.
Right.
It's just a fantastic scene. Ned is sticking to his guns and just refuses.
Dude, the ending line that I thought you were a better man.
Yeah, jeez.
Fucking walks away.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, dude, it's so good.
It is so good.
Sean Bond too.
Yeah, your boy Sean Bond.
Sean Bond, dude. The name's Sean Bond.
It's good. It's good. Poor Ned is all alone. The rest of the small council is just like, yeah, killer. What is it?
And I feel, I don't know that I should say this. I feel it's interesting, some of the positions that they're taking, like the rest of the small council. One person in particular.
Varys?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a cover.
Right.
It is a ruse.
It's a ruse. I mean, we see in this episode, it's not stated explicitly, but with Varys and Illyrio's conversation, it is kind of heavily implied that Varys is working with Illyrio to reinstall the Targaryens.
We need to talk about that scene, but let's finish up any comments or thoughts here on the small council meeting, because I do have a couple things to say about the Varys Illyrio thing.
I didn't have anything else besides.
Oh, good, we're done.
Bobby B.
No, I'm fucking with you.
All right, that's it for The Wolf and the Lion.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of crazy that like this. It's crazy to see like that type of hatred, I guess, run that deep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the story of a girl.
I knew you were going to do that. I fucking knew you were going to do that. Shouts to 9 Days. Great song.
I got to do that.
It's like the soundtrack to my life.
To my life. Fuck, man. What was I saying?
I have no idea.
Right. Okay, so this whole thing is like, Robert Baratheon has been king for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he is terrified of this idea. And I actually think that it's not actually like being terrified. I think it is a hatred of Targaryens.
It is an obsession, yeah. How much he hates the Targaryens. I think part of it is, we see in the scene he has with Cersei later, which I definitely want to talk about, is he senses and feels the fraying of the realm as well. And I feel like it is partly fear. It is an obsession and an anger against the Targaryens, but he does know that it's only bad if they cross, you know.
So has there I guess for our new people who are listening to the show who are new to Game of Thrones, has there been anything explicitly that has said why he despises the Targaryens?
Oh, because of Rhaegar.
Well, right. I mean, yeah, well, obviously that's knowledge for us. Like we know that, but like is there anything that's like said that yet?
Yeah, I mean they've established it, like what you know, where he tells Ned, like, when they're first chatting on the road about it, and Ned is like,
I feel like it's always said kind of cryptically, like it's said as if we're supposed to know already.
Well, you know, like Ned says, like, tell me we're not speaking of this, and Robert's like, oh, it's unspeakable to you, is it? What Rhaegar Targaryen did to your sister, that was unspeakable. Like, all of his rage stems from the fact that he loved Lyanna, and Rhaegar took that away from him, basically.
Right. I guess the reason I'm asking is because, like, I'm taking myself back to the first time I watched the show, and I feel like it took a while for that to set in, for me to be like, okay, I get it. Obviously, like, it's a huge show, it's a huge world, and like you're having to remember and get involved in a lot of different things. So it's easy for like stuff that's kind of set in passing, that's not the forefront of like the plot at that moment, to like kind of get brushed aside. So yeah, like I remember, I can't remember the specific time that I was like, oh, but I definitely know there was a point where like it clicked and I was like, okay, I get all of the issues. It all kind of like makes sense now. So
there's very little, honestly, like wasted dialogue in this show. Like, it's all important, not all obviously, but so much of it is important.
Your mother was a
that's very important to, like, season 6 episode 7, remember your mother was a whore. Important. No, I'm kidding. There's a lot of things said, and while you're still getting a feel for like the world and the names and everything, it can slip past you. Right. But especially on subsequent watches, it's like, oh, that's why, you know, this is happening, and that's why. So this is the second one of my schemes, by the way. This is a scheme. Bobby B is scheming to kill Dany and her child, more or less, you know. So it's not so much a behind the scenes scheme, but it is still a scheme.
Yes, so that's okay, so let's talk about the Varys Ned conversation.
Sure.
So they talk about John Arryn, and it kind of just confirms, right, the suspicions of like Ned's investigation so far.
The Sir Hugh gave him the poison.
Right. And so I feel like it's a point of like validity for the watcher. Finally, you're like, okay, got it. We're making ground. Like, there's obviously like
Detective Ned is getting somewhere.
Right, for sure. And I mean, I think everybody likes a whodunit. This entire fucking season is a whodunit.
Yeah. True.
And it just feels good to be making that type of progress. And also, again, at the same time, we're introducing this Varys character as like, yo, this guy knows shit.
Right.
And like this guy has the potential to be a big player. So big fan of that scene. But it's also like cryptic in the sense that he says, well, Jon Arryn was killed because he started asking questions.
Right.
And I know you're asking questions right now. So like, this is not a good thing.
Right. I mean, yeah, even Illyrio in their conversation later basically implies that maybe we should kill the new hand. And, you know, Varys is warning him about a lot of these things because Varys, you know, professes to be a man of honor and serve the realm.
Right.
And he basically tells Ned, like, hey, I know Robert's your friend, but that dude's doomed. Like, straight up.
Definitely. Which, by the way, that is on my list of schemes.
Yes.
The Varys Ned Conversation.
Same, for sure. Varys, a lot of scheming. To follow up on that, the third obviously Varys and Illyrio. They are
Right.
scheming in the dungeons, which we get this Arya scene. Love the fact that she's chasing cats, and she ends up in this freaking dungeon.
Right. This is another one too, dude, that like the first time watching, I didn't know that was Illyrio. I didn't put it together.
It's tough to. I don't think I caught on that the first time either. I feel like you can tell by his voice if you're probably paying better attention than I was, but it's a cool scene because, you know, they're speaking very cryptically, and it's clear that Arya doesn't fully understand what she's hearing, but she knows it is probably bad news for her father.
Right.
And she just, like, honestly, like, any scene with Arya, I usually just love. Like, she's such a cool character.
Yeah, she really is.
And it's so interesting that, you know, this is the first...
Until, like, season 5.
Okay, fair. This is the first hint that we've gotten that there are indeed people in the Seven Kingdoms working to reestablish the Targaryen rule. And in Varys here, you know, like I said, it may not be explicitly stated, but you can pretty much, you know, infer it from, like, Illyrio talking about, oh, Khal Drogo's not ready, you have to delay, and, you know, Varys being
I don't know if this is maybe too much of, like, an assumption, but this is just kind of like a character read on Varys. Again, for anybody who's just now following the show, this might be slight spoiler territory, but I think what I really like and appreciate about Varys is that, like, I don't think it's necessarily about it being a Targaryen. Like, he doesn't give a fuck that it's the Targaryen house. I think it's more so the fact that, like, he truly, in his own words, he serves the realm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he can see that the realm is kind of, like, tearing apart, fracturing without. And maybe it is the Targaryens because of the way that they ran things, or it's just like whatever it was, now it's not working, and he's like, something else has got to happen now.
Even seasons from now, it is tough to tell what exactly Varys's game is. So I feel like, especially this early on, it's
like 7 seasons from now?
Yeah, it's still just like, Varys, what are you up to? You know Varys is up to something, that scheming little bastard. Dude. But it's difficult to pin down what exactly he is up to. Let's pivot to heading on the Eastern Road. Cat with a solid scheme where she basically just announces to the world that they're headed to Winterfell, and then she pulls the old switcheroo and they're actually going to the Vale. And I feel like Tyrion almost, like, gives her this kind of grudging little nod, like, okay, that was pretty good. They're going to be out looking for me in the wrong place. Excellent. Awesome.
Yep.
And then,
she's like, he's like, you said we were going north. And she was like, yeah, I did say that. I said it loud and I said it often.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck.
Damn it. Shit.
All right. Fair enough.
We get the quick battle here. I don't have much to say about this other than this is our first big part where we get Bronn, who, of course, we love. He is obviously very quickly established as a hell
Bronn's
of a
coming
fighter.
Off the bench here.
Vaughn is coming off the bench and establishing him as he fucks. Big
Bronn
time.
Does fuck.
Bronn indeed fucks. He fucks up a couple of those mountain tribesmen. And the great line I have to call out here is when he tells Tyrion, he's like, is that your first? And Tyrion's like, nods, and he's like, you need a woman. Nothing like a woman after a fight. And Tyrion glances over at Catelyn and he goes, I'm willing if she is. It's so good.
Fucking goddamn.
The quips from Tyrion, even in his capture and right after a battle, never fail. It's good stuff.
Yeah. You know, Amanda brought up a good point. When we actually watched episode 4 and episode 5 today.
Mm-hmm. Wait, 4? We've already done 4.
No, I know. It's just she had gotten behind. She's been wanting to, like, watch with me, and so I rewatched 4.
Zach did a recap of an episode he hadn't seen in 2 years.
I mean, hey, I could probably do it.
I'd probably pull it off.
Yeah. And she made a comment, and now I can't unsee it, and I fucking hate it.
What?
She's like, everything. She's like, it's incredible how good the costuming and the set pieces and everything in this, for it to be season 1 with the budget it had comparatively to everything
Later
else
seasons,
it has.
yeah.
And she's like, the one thing that just does not work is whether it's his natural hair or it's a fucking head, like a hairpiece. Tyrion's hair is fucking ugly, gross, stupid looking. It's awful.
It gets better in later seasons, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Because, I mean, he's supposed to have very golden hair, and his name just absolutely fled my mind. What is the actor's name?
Peter Dinklage?
Peter Dinklage, yes. Peter Dinklage does not have yellow hair, blonde hair. So, yeah, I don't know if it's a wig or coloring or whatever. It's not real good. They kind of just let him have his natural brown hair later, for sure.
Like, just Tyrion as a whole, like, he looks bad in season 1.
A little bit.
He's supposed to look bad. I get it.
Yeah, he's supposed to look much worse, actually.
He's supposed to look much worse. Yes, you're right.
You brought up costuming, and we already went through this scene, but I have to jump back to Jaime goddamn Lannister can pull off that leather jerkin. I don't know what so fucking hot.
Dude,
oh my god.
It's a double-breasted, like.
Yeah. It's so, he just looks so cool. I know I could not pull off whatever the fuck he's wearing there, but I want to like buy one anyway. I'm like, I fucking LARP.
I would pay to see you in that.
I will LARP all day long if I get to wear that badass leather. I don't even know what you would call it, but he looks so cool. God, he's cool.
It's a double-breasted jacket, dude.
No, it's like more than a jacket. It's like, it's got like it's not a tassels. It's like the tie. It's so cool. I don't know what it is, but it's rad as shit.
Okay. Hey, speaking of costuming, this might be cool for newer Game of Thrones fans. Did you guys? This is a fact.
Zach fact.
Yeah, Zach. No, we're not. That
we're not doing that again.
That needs to die. Yeah, that needs to die. This is just something that like I've just had kind of in the dome, and it's about costuming. And I'm sure you know this. The like fur coats and stuff like that they wear in the north. Like the really big.
I know what you're talking about.
Fur shit that they're wearing up there. They are IKEA rugs.
That's amazing. I did not know that, actually. That's really good.
That?
No,
it's so funny. Yeah, dude.
That is very funny.
Like, to actually have like all of them made was very expensive, and so they literally just bought like, IKEA an ass ton of IKEA rugs, and yeah.
That's very good.
And it looks good.
It looks good. I mean, those furs
great,
look great. Yeah, like I said, aside from maybe Tyrion, I do love the costuming in this first season. Real quick, also shout out. I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Arya, but at the end of her scene when she goes up to those two, it's actually a big episode for random guardsmen in this episode. The dude is so proud of his "fuck the queen" joke. Dude, like when he says like, I want to fuck the queen for all the good it does me, he looks to his buddy and just like, you can tell he's so like, proud of that joke. Like, he's like, come on.
That was good.
That was pretty good. I took a note of that and I thought it was so funny. Also the the Lannister dude looked so proud of himself. The guy that stabbed Ned through the back of the knee. He's like, and then Jaime just comes up and beats the shit out of him. Yeah, a big up for random guardsmen being proud of themselves. So.
Now, let's see here. So I did have a very quick note on the verbal jousting that Varys and Littlefinger did. That was tense. I will say that the first time I watched the show, I did kind of struggle to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Like what it all meant. But upon many rewatches, it's just so good every time.
They're kind of scheming about who's the better schemer.
Yeah. They're I mean, again, as you mentioned in the recap, they are measuring dicks.
Big time.
Scheming dicks,
yes,
I guess.
For sure.
Anyway, okay, so look, here's a big conversation. Robert and Cersei.
Yes.
That is heavy.
It's
so good.
It's so fucking good. This scene is one of the ones here. I have a Scott fact for you. This was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the scenes they added Basically at the end of filming, there was a big thing in the first season where they got to the end of the first season and they realized they were like way short on, like, they didn't have enough content basically to fill the 10 episodes. Because this scene is not in the books at all. So I think this was one of the scenes they kind of almost added as a not just a filler. I don't want to say that because that sounds like derogatory, like mean, but they added it to help fill time, and also I feel like it gives really good context to Cersei and Robert's characters, needed, yes, that we wouldn't have got otherwise.
Yeah.
And I mentioned earlier, you know, like Mark Addy fucking running the gambit in this episode, and this is his big finale where he went from like hilarious to furious and angry, and how the poor dude is just like sad and depressed. I love the line when Cersei comes in and she says, "I'm sorry your marriage to Ned Stark didn't work out. You two seem so good together." And he just in just like the saddest fucking voice I've ever heard in my life. He goes, "I'm happy, or I'm glad I could finally do something to make you happy." And it's just, this scene is so good. Oh my God.
What's really interesting too is like, I feel like it's the only time we actually ever see Cersei on screen where it doesn't seem like she is trying to be manipulative,
like has an agenda.
Yeah, like it's a I don't want to say vulnerable, but maybe just a little bit more human interaction.
More honest, probably too. Like she's still very guarded, but it is a little more honest and real than we usually see from her.
Right.
It's
good.
It's so very fucking good.
It gives some substance to Cersei, which is interesting because it's not even in the book. Like, I understand it might not be needed, but for on screen, right. I think it's needed.
I think a lot of that, you know, it gives you a lot of background information that you may have gotten like elsewhere in the book, not necessarily in a scene like this.
Right.
But I think the scene works so well. You know, we called her out maybe a couple episodes ago, but Lena Headey is so good in this scene too. Like, their back and forth is just absolutely fantastic. She has I think my favorite line of the whole scene is when Robert says something to the effect of like, "7 kingdoms, blah, blah, what holds it all together?" And she just quips, "Our marriage." And Robert actually like genuinely laughs, and it's like, it's so sad, but it's so good and so funny.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of good lines in this scene.
There's one specific that is almost like, it's just such a blatant like acknowledgement of like whether King Robert knew it then as the viewer in hindsight, it registers as like, this is the mark of like the end of this.
Right.
Because there's this one line where he says something like, "You get tired," or something to that extent. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Yeah, every day.
Right.
And he's like, basically, how do you do it? Or like, how do you make it through it? And she's like, 17 years is a long time.
They're talking about
almost like a very final, like,
yes,
like, yeah, this is about
I think he asked specifically, how long can hate hold something together?
Yes, exactly.
And she says, well, 17 years is a pretty long time. And you're absolutely right. It does feel there's almost like a finality to it.
Yeah.
I think we can both be in agreement, Zach, that this one needs to be
yes.
added to the list.
This is my first nomination.
This would be Zach's first throwing it on the list there. I figured it would be.
Hey, if you're actually I'm sure you are typing these up.
Yeah. I've got a list going.
Keeping them somewhere, put like our initials on it so we see who nominates.
Sure. One more good line from, well, maybe I may think of another one here shortly, but when he tells her, when they're talking about like whether the Dothraki are going to cross and this and that and the other thing, he tells her, "It's a neat little trick you do. You move your lips and your father's words come out." And just knowing
the ever elusive father of Cersei and Jaime Lannister,
knowing what we know, obviously, as big fans of the show and having seen everything, any mention of Tywin before we get to meet him is great. But it's just like another little tease we've gotten several, and we've usually called them out about Tywin Lannister, this Tywin Lannister figure, and I cannot wait for him to be introduced
soon, my friend.
Yes. God, that's a good scene.
Yeah.
I just thought of the end too, when she's very vulnerable.
Was there ever a chance for us?
Yep. When she's like, I did care about you truly for a time. And then she's like, was there ever a chance for us? And he just looks so ragged and worn and broken. And he just goes, no, never. Oof. And then when she asks him about Lyanna and this and that, and he asks her, does that make you feel better or worse? And she just goes,
she takes a sip of wine and she's like,
doesn't make me feel anything. Oh my God. Those two, God damn. I wish, this may be putting a little bit of the cart before the horse, but I wish we could have gotten more scenes like that between those two. Oh my God.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. You didn't say anything about there's an air of finality to this, some of those lines. Shit.
Okay.
What else?
Last couple things here that I had before we kind of move into our last section. Lysa Arryn.
Oh my God.
Fuck her, dude. She sucks ass so hard. She does. And
fucking
her fucking
psychopath.
Kiddo, dude, yeah, her kiddo also sucks ass and tits so hard.
I want to make the bad man fly.
Dude, fuck that kid.
He sucks.
Yeah, they fucking blow. Okay, so I had one thing I wanted to talk shit about, and it's something I talked shit about last episode.
Oh boy.
I hate Littlefinger. Like, I hate his performance.
Are you gonna talk about the scene between like him and Varys, or
no?
I thought you liked that scene.
I mean, okay, everything that Littlefinger says is a fucking like this dude is trying to have a quip list like as long as a fucking Walgreens receipt. He wants this massive list of just like sick one-liners, and they don't deliver all the time.
I will give you that some of his line deliveries are extremely odd. No, I'm not gonna say awful. He makes some odd choices, but there's something about it that I just love, because it's like, it's almost like he's on a different show than everyone else sometimes.
He's just playing the fucking Peter Baelish show, dude.
He's playing a completely different show and tone than some of the others. I actually noticed it specifically in the Varys Littlefinger scene, where he's talking and he's like, what would I do if I was stuck between loyalty to a realm and loyalty to a friend? And it's like, some of his line deliveries are very odd, but I kind of love it. I kind of am super into it.
So so that's one thing. But even that was in context. Like,
sure,
it had to do with the conversation that him and Varys were having. The one specifically that I was like, dude, fuck this guy.
The whores thing?
The what?
The like, whores are better investments than ships?
Yes. Yeah. So Ned is just like meeting with this whore. And he walks out, and Varys is just like, Baelish is just like, brothels make better investments than ships.
He's just He's just having his TED talk about investments.
Dude,
he's like, welcome.
He's trying to get me to buy NFTs, bro.
Ned walks into his like TED NFT talk about, let me tell you about my investments.
Dude. It's so
don't invest in
dude.
ships. That's a fool's errand.
Dude,
oh my God, I love it.
It's awful.
It's so funny. Quick thing I wanted to call out. Cool little scene with Bran and Lewin.
It's on the blockchain, man.
It's on the blockchain. I'm putting whores on the blockchain. Lewin and Bran, just hearing like house words and like sigils and where they're at. It's just cool stuff. Cool world building. Quick shout out. The Baratheons definitely have the coolest house words. Ours is the Fury.
No, ours is the Fury.
Ours is the Fury. Super badass. I love the Baratheon.
Unbound and Bent and Broken is fucking sick, though.
It's pretty good. Also, I love Hear Me Roar for the Lannisters, which we didn't actually get to hear.
That's kind of the lamest one.
No, I know.
I think it's the lamest one.
Whatever, shut the fuck up. I also want to shout out, side note to the Baratheons, some of their, like, dudes, like, the Baratheons through history have had the coolest fucking, like, epithets and names. Like, there was a dude once known as the Laughing Storm, and that is rad as fuck.
That is so cool.
But the thing I really wanted to call out here was the good burn my dude Lewin had, where, you know, Bran is giving his thing about the
Theon?
Greyjoys, yeah, and Theon turns around, thinks he's all cool. He's like, known for their skills in archery, ships, and lovemaking, or whatever like that. And Lewin just goes, and failed rebellion.
And failed rebellions, dude. It's so
I was just
funny,
like,
bro.
good burn, Lewin. That was great.
Is it also this episode where he's like, we were outnumbered 10-1,
Yeah.
and then they're like, a stupid rebellion?
No, that was
what?
Tyrion when he was talking with Tyrion at the gate. That was
Okay,
that was
so
an episode
I'm
or two
confusing
ago.
it with episode 4 because
Yeah.
I watched that with Amanda today also.
Sure, you mentioned that. Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think that's everything of interest on the episode. Actually, yes, one thing. I'm gonna still make you say something nice about Daenerys.
Oh my god.
Even though she's not in the episode.
Yeah, wait, is she even in the episode? God damn it. What am I supposed to say?
Just say something nice about Daenerys. Daenerys
Good on her
Stormborn
for being
Targaryen.
pergranant, I guess.
She's pregnant.
She's
That's the one good
pregnant.
thing.
That's the one good thing. Okay, I don't even know if I want to make you do the cat one because that's easy. She had a good
she schemed.
ruse.
Yeah, she schemed.
Yeah. Real quick, my final counter for schemes was 7. By the way,
Mine was 6.
Okay,
Mine was 6.
we didn't call out the Loras and Renly scheme. They're scheming.
Right, I have that.
think we hit the rest of. Oh, Littlefinger. This is a scheme to kind of get Ned to stay in King's Landing. I think that was my other one that we didn't call out.
Oh, then I must have something you don't.
What's that?
So my 6 are Varys telling Ned that the king's in danger. Varys with Illyrio.
Yep.
Varys Littlefinger, like their verbal joust thing. A small council meeting about Dany.
Yep.
Loras telling Renly he should be king,
Yep.
and Cat taking Tyrion to the Vale are my 6.
But but I have 7.
I feel like there was one at the beginning of the episode that you said you had and I didn't.
The reverse psychology scheme that Ned has? Yeah.
Yeah, so then...
I don't know what's happening. It doesn't matter. There are 6, possibly 7 schemes in this episode.
Professionals.
Yes, we're professionals here. Let's go to our other very professional list here. Who be thrown in?
Who be thrown in? Dun, 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 dun.
Where he last left off. It's gonna be so much funnier if we actually do have theme music for that, and we're just doing our own theme music
Doing that over?
Yeah. The existing music. That would be so good. Where we last left off, our boy Bobby B. Let's just go ahead and say he's staying at number 1 this episode. Yeah. He had a legendary.
Yeah.
I almost want to just pull him off and put Mark Addy specifically there, but technicalities.
Yeah.
Bobby B was number 1. Ned Stark was number 2.
Okay, the 2, I think, look. Here.
Well, let me get through the list. Damn.
Okay.
Bobby B was
Sorry.
number 1.
Sorry, guys.
Some people are listening to this audio, Zach. Robert 1, Ned 2, Cersei 3, Jon Snow 4, and Daenerys Targaryen was 5. Zach, I believe you had something you wanted to say. Did you you have the floor, buddy. It is open to you now.
Jon and Daenerys need to come off the list because they're not in the episode.
Definitely. Sorry, Jon.
And I think this is easy. The people that replace them are both Littlefinger and Varys. I think.
Okay.
You could argue Jaime as well, though, because of his fight with Ned.
I was gonna argue Jaime. I don't know if he's quite there yet.
I also think that Ned needs to drop down a couple pegs.
I agree with... I was almost going to say Ned comes off. Because Ned, where we leave Ned, he is not in good shape. He is no longer Hand of the King, in theory. He has resigned. He just got into basically open battle with the Lannisters, and he got a damn spear through the back of his knee. I think Ned comes off.
I think that's a pretty fair argument there, buddy.
Yeah, okay. Ned comes off. I want to... Let me pop in... where are you, Varus? Do I not have you on here? I don't.
Hey, this is a good time for me to tell you guys.
Okay, I have Littlefinger.
Why is this the common theme here, buddy?
Don't worry about it. I'll get this fixed.
All right.
Do your thing.
In all seriousness, this is a great time for me to tell you guys, if you are new here on the YouTube or on whatever podcast app you're listening on, we have a Twitter and we have an Instagram. You can find us at We Don't Wanna Pod. We would love for you guys to come hang out with us there. Keep up to date with all the fun happenings about the We Don't Wanna podcast. And we also have a Discord, which the link will be in the description below or in the podcast description as well. Come hang out, come join the community, interact with a bunch of you. I think we decided on wannabes. Hashtag wannabes.
TBD.
Yeah, TBD. Anyway, it's going to be a fun time. And consider subscribing if you guys are new. We would love to build more of a community here with all of you guys. So stick around, hit the follow button. Oh, you're bringing Braun on the list? I don't think he is actually going to be on the list.
You might be right.
Oh, that was the end of our self-promo. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thanks for that, Zach. He kicks ass in the fight, and then he does have the really good line about give me 10 good men with some climbing spikes and I'll impregnate the bitch.
Yeah, we didn't even call that out.
We didn't call that out. I don't know if he's quite there. He will make this list at some point, rest assured.
Oh, yeah.
I think he has a case here. Cersei stays?
Oh, yeah, Cersei stays.
Okay, just for that scene, basically. Yeah. Does she jump up to 2?
I feel like I might put
Varys at 2.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, this is tough. I feel
you could make a case about the Hound because
I was just about to say I could make a case for the Hound too. He basically wins the tournament.
Only scene. That's his only scene in the episode.
I like the Hound. Honorable mention to the Hound.
Also be on this.
Honorable mention to the Hound. He is considered, but I don't think he makes it over these 6 we have here.
Okay. I feel like Varys goes above Littlefinger because Varys obviously has very big plans and wide plans.
He's got a lot of irons in the fire. Yeah.
And I think... You think Varys over Cersei?
I don't know. I could be talked into either.
I kind of feel like Cersei, man. I mean, like,
I agree.
She's scheming as hard as Varys is.
And that
she's
scene was
also in a higher position of power.
Yes. And that scene was incredible.
Yeah. Okay. And also, yeah, just better performances all around.
Yeah. Let's do that. Varys next then, and then Littlefinger.
I think so, yes.
So that leaves Bronn and Jaime fighting for the last spot.
Yeah, it's Jaime.
You're probably right, but
yeah, boy. It's not a contest right now, unfortunately.
I will concede. I am with you. Jaime, man, that scene at the end is so good. I agree. Jaime has to make the list, and I think these others are good candidates as well. Okay, that came together pretty quickly. Okay,
hey, this is the first time you've ever done this without dragging our background.
You know what?
I'm so proud of you, buddy.
You can shut the hell up. I think you were looking down or something, or looking away when you were doing your little spiel when giant Braun covered the entire screen. So You did miss that, I'm pretty sure.
The production quality of this show is
Through the roof. It couldn't be higher.
Yeah, we have the same budget as Game of Thrones, so
yeah. Oh,
what could go wrong?
definitely. Is that our list then?
I think that's it. This was actually honestly a little easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was still tough, but yeah. Braun is a tough cut for me, but I will concede. So that is who be thrown in this week. Bobby Baratheon continues his reign both on the Iron Throne and number 1 in our hearts. Queen Cersei jumped up a spot to spot 2. She's been on the list probably second most this season, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
we'll have to. I'm keeping
maybe Ned.
I'm keeping a spreadsheet of placements. We'll get some stats out there at some point. Varys.
Yeah, no, you're not. No, he's not.
Shut
Guys.
the
He's gonna make that later.
Fuck off. Varys, first time on the list, big schemer this episode.
The spreadsheet is just screen caps of our actual episode.
It's not. I swear, it is not finished. I am only a couple episodes into it, but I
don't
do.
believe you.
Oh my god, do I have to share? No, production. I was about to share my screen on this, but that
you'd ruin our entire
everything
show.
would fall apart. Everything would fall apart. Varys jumps up to 3, Peter Baelish, aka Littlefinger, at 4, and Jaime Lannister. I feel like if he was able to finish his duel with Ned, he would be higher, but he did not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Do we have a late addition? This is unprecedented, Zach.
Do you think that there could be a case for Tyrion?
There's a case. I don't think it's there yet.
Yeah, I think I just convinced I do think I think you're right. There's a case. I don't think that he can knock Jaime off.
Not to put the cart before the horse. I think Tyrion will probably be on the list next week. If I remember my episodes correctly, but
right. If you recall correctly.
If I recall correctly, man, is there anyone else we forgot about?
No, I think
Arya has a solid episode, but I don't think enough to get her on the list here.
Right. Something fantastic about this episode we haven't mentioned is that we don't have any Daenerys in this episode.
That is a pretty fantastic thing, and yet
it's almost like book 4 of Harry Potter with no Quidditch.
Right, exactly like that. And yet you still made me say something nice about her. You
could just take the easy way out and say that she's hot.
Oh, you know who needs to go on this list is Jory. Jory had a big episode. Okay, hold on, real quick. Can we address the fact that Ned asked Jory who his best 2 swords are?
Yeah.
And those guys get murked immediately.
Literally just take a spear in the chest, bro.
Even faster than Jory, who, to his credit, killed 2 Lannister soldiers before Jaime Lannister.
And then he tried to step to Jaime.
He stepped to Jaime, and Jaime was like, you fucking thought. Yeah. You gonna learn today.
Yeah.
I thought I had... Oh, I did...
You should just get a picture of an eyeball.
Oh my god. I really thought I had a quip somewhere in my notes about how at least Jory got to see something nice before he couldn't see anything ever again. Because he's looking at that...
That's real corny.
I know it was, but
I kind of love it, but it's real
because
corny.
Because the chick is he's watching the chick show him her lovely breasts in the brothel. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I thought you were saying that he sees Jaime's pretty ass face.
Oh, that too. Big time. He sees that sick leather coat.
Quite literally before he's never going to see anything ever
Literally the knife goes through his eyeball. It's good stuff. Yeah, big shouts to Jory. Just misses the list. Let me go look for a picture of Jory. Nope, not doing that. That is who be thrown in. That was the most nonsensical who be thrown in ever, I feel like.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. This was a great episode.
This episode's good. It's good.
Yeah, a lot happening, and I feel like it's only the beginning. It's the first of many episodes where it is man, shit is in motion. Because this, the wheel's been turning for a little while, but is somebody finally, this episode finally pushed the wheel over the hill. Yeah. And it is just going to start picking up speed.
We joked about it. It was a theme throughout the episode, but man, the schemes are off the chart in this episode. And not only that, but we end it with a big action scene as well. Big action scene, with Bronn and Tyrion and Cat as well. It's stuff is happening. We are, I believe, this is kind of the point where we are starting to accelerate towards like the finale, of season 1. So.
Well, that is going to do it for us. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and joining our discussion on episode 5, The Wolf and the Lion of Game of Thrones. As I mentioned earlier, hit us up on the Twitter and Instagram at We Don't Want a Pod to stay up to date with all the happenings of the We Don't Want a podcast. And we just appreciate the hell out of you guys. Thank you guys for listening.
Hell yeah.
It means a lot. So we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye. Sorry we're late, Jeff.
We're leaving that in, right? A little surprise for Jeffy boy. All right, bye.